There's Paula, and it's great.
Anyone hear us?
Hi.
Hi, who's that?
Oh.
Let me talk it up a bit. Can people see us yet?
Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're just waiting a couple more minutes. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
It's 19 hours.
That's
Welcome, everyone. If you can hear us, please type a hello in the chat.
Yeah, we have a chat.
Maybe we should type that in case someone can't hear us.
Hello.
Hi, Paula.
Hello,
Hi,
Grace. Hello, Emily, and hello, other people too. If you two can hear us, everyone else can too, so that's good. So we're gonna start by a little introduction. Welcome everyone to this summer solstice gathering, digital gathering that we're doing to share some tips and some practices and some different ways to attune to the season of summer and to use that to empower ourselves. So my name is Aiste Gazda. And
my name is Joel Gazda.
we founders of Wild Food Cafe. We also specialize in all things well-being, specialize in full spectrum understanding of well-being, not just food. You might know us from a lot of plant-based and raw food and restaurants, but we also, hello Justine, we also specialize in all aspects of holistic well-being because we wholeheartedly believe that food is only one way to of a spectrum of well-being that we can support ourselves with, and that we need to take into account the whole spectrum of hello.
Sorry, continue. I'm listening to you guys. How are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
Nice to see you both. I hope you enjoyed Lithuania.
Yeah.
Very much.
Okay. Okay. So where were we? Yeah. So the whole spectrum well-being and what it represents, starting from connection to nature, connection to the seasons, connection to the right foods, the right practices, the right internal mindset, so that we can ride the wave which our ancestors have always done from time immemorial, using the pivotal moments of the year like summer solstice, equinoxes, and winter solstice as the key moments to kind of enhance everything they are doing internally, to enhance their process, enhance their well-being, enhance their practice and connection. So the most important takeout from this is all these tools that we're sharing with you today and next week and throughout the 2 weeks. These tools are pointing to this connection and bringing us to our whole selves once again. So even if we feel fragmented or feel stressed or anxious, it's a time to remember ourselves as a whole being, and from that place we can then adjust and improve and transform things in our lives so that we experience even more happiness and well-being.
Quite right.
So we're going to start with a little tune-in meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you have any questions throughout the this webinar, we're going to be going about 40 minutes. So if you have questions in the meantime, put them in the chat and we're going to answer them towards the end. So yeah, we'll have them there.
Okay, we'll begin with the musical symbol of awakening, the bell. So let us become aware of our breath, savor and appreciate a few deep breaths. Inhale, balance. Exhale, imbalance. Inhale, balance. Exhale, imbalance. Inhale, balance. Exhale, imbalance. Great. So let us become more present in our bodies, more aware of our bodies, more relaxed into our bodies. Really feel, come deeply towards your center. Find your magnetic center. Find your gravitational center. Deep, deep within your heart of hearts. Your source. Your point of origin. Your point of truth and oneness. Your point that is connected to all. Your luminous center. Bright, glowing. Keep zooming into it. We can zoom into it infinitely. Feel its radiance. Feel its warmth. Allow it to animate you and breathe you. It always is. And it becomes more potent to the degree that we become aware of it, realize it, and align with it. Keep zooming into it infinitely, perpetually, refocusing on it, refocusing on the center. And as we simultaneously, intimately zoom into our heart of hearts, we feel it simultaneously expanding outwards as the glow of each one of our atoms, our cells, our DNA, our organs, our body, the ecosystem of 100 trillion cells we're made up of. So feel it expanding outwards, beyond the body, the electromagnetic field, the aura, filling the room, filling your home, filling your neighborhood, your city, deep into the earth, towards the heart of the earth, high into the sky, towards the heart of the heavens, across the whole island you live upon, across the whole earth, simultaneously zooming in to the center and expanding outwards to the periphery. Feel the balance between this paradox, this infinity loop. Feel it encompassing the whole earth, your earthling self, of which all our brothers and sisters are parts of us and we are parts of them, cosmic companions in the metaphysical being. Feel your inner fire at this source, the community fire within you, at the center of the universe. Feel your creative fire within, the fire and the warmth of your body, the fire of the illuminated, enlightened mind, the fire of compassion, the fire of the sun and the solar system, the fire of Hunab-Ku, the galactic center, and the fire of your atoms, all at once. Feel yourself bathed in the fire, purified in the fire, enlivened by the fire, loved by the fire, unconditionally. And feel the waters of which we're made, simmering in the fire, alive with the fire, complementary to the fire. The Mayans say the fire and the water are one, and they are. Both fire and water are living dynamic plasma states. They are the transmuters between the heavens above us and the earth below us. They are the bridge which brings the energy up from the earth to the heavens and from the heavens down to the earth. Fire usually being the one which rises, and water the one which descends, in a cycle at which we are the center. So let us become aware of these four elements now. Feel them. Feel the hydration, the juiciness of your cells. Feel the fire of your cells, the warmth of your cells. And feel yourself being cooked in the alchemical cauldron that is this universe, this life. Dynamically dancing between the polarities. Feel the water cleansing you, the water in your every cell. Feel the internal ocean at one with the external ocean, the internal waterfalls and cascading rivers of the liquid parts of our bodies, which is most of our bodies, and the flowing liquid parts of the earth and the universe. Purifying. Water is the universal solution. All things dissolve into it. Feel your soul being washed clean by tears of joy, tears of appreciation, forgiveness, surrender, letting go, relief. Relax in the purifying energy of water rushing through you, the water in the air, in the breath. Let's become more and more aware of these sacred elements in our day-to-day lives and work with the natural magic of them, of hydrating ourselves, of bathing consciously at home, of making an adventure out of going to visit rivers and springs and waterfalls and the ocean, so that we may jump into the river of life, flow with the river of life, with grace. And let's bring our awareness deeply, deeply, deeply back onto this solar system, onto this earth, onto this island, into this neighborhood, into this room, into this body, here and now, dancing with joy. Aho.
Aho. Welcome back. So, tuning in to summer solstice and what it represents, that's why Joel shared with us a meditation, a guided meditation that was mostly about fire, the sun. It is a very solar time. That's where a lot of things and processes, anything from our thoughts to emotions to the foods we eat, get activated and dynamized in our body just because for a sheer abundance of sunlight. So the way we behave in that time needs to be representative of the amount of sunlight we're also intaking, because fire is a catalyst, and perhaps you usually share about that.
Sure. We have a wonderful fire behind us, and it's a really essential practice to make time every day for the fire in our lives, whether we're lucky enough to be by a fireplace or simply lighting a candle for 5 minutes a day, preferably just before bed, after switching off our more artificial technology. A good way to unwind in the evening, one of the best times. To read is at night, and to read at night by candle flame, even if it's for 5 minutes, you can do an hour. Great, brilliant way to unwind. Just being next to real fire calms the whole nervous system, the energy system, and cleanses the body.
And also, from a perspective of the sun, the bigger fire, summer is a time when we are most affected, I would say, by the foods we eat, because the sun is shining upon us a lot. And so depending on the foods you eat, whether you eat a lot of raw food, which is, by the way, the best time for raw food, because it helps the whole being, the whole organism to process the light and to synthesize the light within. So we often experience that if we eat a lot of raw food during summer months, we tan better and we don't get red. And Joe is a super expert on that, because he's very devoted at eating probably 99% raw in summer, and he is like a living embodiment that it works in terms of how you absorb the sunlight and how the skin responds to the sunlight. And also in summer months we tend to eat lighter, so smoothies and raw soups and salads is kind of the main staples, and making the best of the abundance of the local vegetables and fruits and berries, just nourishing the body deeply with minerals and enzymes directly from the land, which is very healing.
So sunlight and heat and fire are all catalysts. So whatever is going on inside us gets sped up and increased by the light magnifying it. So that's why it's a time of year when people appear to get allergies and things like hay fever, because whatever is going on in their body whatever is going on in the internal environment. The cleaner it is, the more they can thrive easily. If there is blockages and contamination and mucus forming foods and inflammation in the body or different organ systems of the body, then inflammation, fire, will become further increased by the fire of the sun or the summertime. So it's a good time to notice what responses our body has to the fire, and then we can get good feedback on what adjustments to make for most people. Most of the time in modern culture, that will require things to help cool them down, hydrate them, balance them, lighten them up, to relieve blockages in the system and help thrive and radiate.
So we're going to share some of our favorite summertime recipes with you in the follow-up email, which are usually surprisingly simple. I mean, in the restaurants, we like to play and create beautiful dishes that are inspiring, that are colorful, and sometimes have multiple layers to them. But at home, in the peak summer months, we make sure we take time to eat also very simply, because that polarity of complex, amazing, warming food and simple, very simple local ingredients is what works for us. And it's important that we remember, with all the abundance of food available and the recipes out there, that just few very simple ingredient combinations are all you probably need in there. And during the summer months, it's often the case. So, for example, we love eating tomatoes at this time of the year. That's the only time of the year when we eat tomatoes, because they come from here, from England, or wherever you are in Europe. I know some of you are tuning in from Germany and other places. So tomatoes is absolutely amazing at this time of the year. So we make sure we eat the abundance of those, and things like kale and cabbage and more sturdy greens, which we often use to make salads, and squashes and marrows are also super abundant. So we pick like 5-6 staple vegetables, and we just eat the abundance of those, because this is the moment when they are at their best, and we're probably not going to get them in this shape and form and flavor for the rest of the year. So why not make the best out of it?
Yeah, cucumbers, the berries, starting with strawberries. We've already started. We're being nearly at the end of asparagus now, fennel, and then the rest of the berries. Strawberries are ending, raspberries come in, blueberries come in, cherries come in. It's really cool to just flow with those natural cycles wherever you are. And then towards the end of the summer will be the apples and pears, which will last us through the autumn and winter. And of course, we'll have a few things from further afield that are worth treating ourselves to, like for us in England, the French grapes and figs come in, which are notoriously good. We're actually lucky enough to have a fig tree next to us. Lots of wonderful people who emigrated here from the Mediterranean planted fig trees in the last few decades. So they do grow well in England.
So what we also wanted to mention and address today is to use the time of summer solstice to cleanse and declutter, and that doesn't mean going hardcore detox or hardcore fasting, which you can do, but you don't have to. What it often means is making more space internally, emotionally, physically, mentally, and externally, whether it's by tidying up your home or creating a little altar. Make a little space for yourself, or a lot of space, to receive new energy of summer, which inevitably comes with the summer solstice. As the rhythms of the cosmos and the rhythms of the sun move, whenever we remember that we are part of nature, we're part of the whole earth, we're part of the whole ecosystem of the earth and the cosmos, it is inevitable that we are affected. And when we do make room, when we do make space for that new shift of energy to also enter our lives and not be blocked by loud TV, loud social media, a lot of coffee, a lot of tobacco, a lot of heavy foods, then we can actually start experiencing what that energetic shift represents to us as individuals. And when we feel that, then we start noticing little moments of intuition and our innate body wisdom, which is always there with us. And when we reconnect to that sense of the wild wisdom within us, the wisdom of the nature within us, then we can explore and also empower ourselves in our own well-being, because we know that awareness comes up that, okay, I know what's good for my body. So the way we often suggest to start with a decluttering practice is to usually take a week or 2 weeks, and now is the best time to do it if you haven't done it yet, because we're in the process of this 2-week webinar and group work. So hopefully we'll connect with the group throughout and we can support each other, is to stop drinking caffeinated drinks like coffee and green tea and fizzy drinks, and we usually remove like processed sugars and any kind of processed foods, so that the body can rest and replenish with wholesome vegetables and a lot of raw food. And also we do the same internally with the mind. So we try and release the negative thought patterns. Do that by either taking a ritual bath or a cold shower or going to nature, so that you can restart your thought process, release the kind of loopy negative thoughts, and release your emotions, so that you can feel how you feel in the present moment. Perhaps you want to add something to that?
Just reminding everyone, if you have any questions at any point, please type them in. We would love to hear from you and be able to give more specific responses.
So that's the cleansing aspect of the this time of the year, and we do this usually in every solstice and equinox. And we also do the same with our social media and relationships. So you can either go on a little social media detox, or what really helps for us is to switch it off at home in the evenings and in the mornings. So we only use very specific times to go on social media, because as you all know, it can be a bit of a
never-ending spiral.
Exactly. So those are the things that we tend to remove, and we also abstain from negative emotions like anger, like anxiety, like depression. Just try and be positive and create, in the meantime, to sustain that positive space. We would create an altar specifically for the summer, so we can add flowers from locally somewhere, and affirmations that are specific to us for the summer. And we also work with the elements, like what Joe mentioned about the candle and some other ones.
Yeah, good time of year for sun gazing. Our book is coming out in October. We can go a bit into sun gazing. If anyone would like to know about sun gazing, I can go into that. But the safe times to sun gaze are the first 2 hours after sunrise and the last 2 hours before sunset. And just making time to connect to the sun, to say hello to the sun. Between those hours that I mentioned is when it's safe to gaze at the sun. And it's always in a gentle, delicate way. Never want to force it. If it's uncomfortable for eyes, then we minimize it. We start with those 10 or 15 seconds a day and increase that by 10 or 15 seconds a day gradually. And it's one of the greatest meditations that we can do. We can meditate at the same time that we do it. We can pray at the same time that we do it. It's essential really to be somewhere in nature, to be barefoot and grounded and connected to the earth while we do it. And really centers us. Through the process, we feel a merging between ourselves and the sun and the whole solar system. It's hard to know where the sun ends and we begin, because really there is no separation, there is no boundary between the two. We are solar beings. So,
Nature time. So I know a lot of you already spend good time in nature, and you know what to do. But it's good to mention that, especially during the time of summer solstice, it is considered the most magical. Oh. It's considered the most magical time to spend in nature, and it's also considered that at this time, the plants and the herbs and the flowers have the most medicinal qualities to them. So whenever you can, we just came back from a long weekend in nature, and that was so beautifully healing and replenishing. And it was such a good reminder of the power of this time of the year and also of the power of nature. So whenever you are in nature, make sure you take time to consciously connect to your environment, to say hi to the trees, to say hi to the sun, to say hi to the ground, and start a dialogue. Because a lot of us, especially in the West, we're very like straight about it, like, you know, it's a one-way street. So when we start realizing that there is a dialogue, that when we speak there is a response, and if we are sensitive enough and tuned in enough, which we all can be with the tools and practices that we're sharing and our own innate intuition, then we can start hearing the response. And that is it's a beautiful experience, and it's also deeply empowering and healing for us, because we realize we're not just one single individual unit, we are connected.
Yeah. And find time for some water. Best time of year to find time for some water to balance the fire. That's why it's an important dynamic balance. Just as in the winter, when it's colder and damper, it's good to connect with the fire. Well, in summer, it's the most complementary energy is to balance the heat of the summer with water. So whether that's 1, internally hydrating, 2, bathing more, and 3, when you go into nature, ideally going to lakes and waterfalls and ponds and springs and the sea, the ocean, and jumping in and bathing regularly and feeling the healing powers of wild living waters, because they change our state instantaneously. They cleanse us not only on the physical level, but the mental, emotional level as well. Learning songs and prayers to the elements is part of what we're sharing more of these days, whether it's at the cacao ceremonies or song groups or other practices we do. For any of those of you who joined us for this call, it's less regularly that we announce this in public, but we do run monthly sweat lodges more or less every month here in London with our friends and companions that come over from abroad and teach us, which is a very special practice that we do not advertise publicly. And so if you're interested in that, feel free to let us know and we'll put you on that list. And we can share a bit more about that. Some of you have been on one of those. And if anyone else wants to know more specific details, we're happy to share that here on email.
So coming back to water, Joe mentioned how important it is to connect to water at this time of the year. The reason why we're focusing on the 2 main elements today and during the time of the summer solstice is because this summer is a very solar time, and summer solstice is the very peak of summer. It's the return of summer in the most abundant way. So we have the longest day, the shortest night if you are based in the northern hemisphere, which most of you I think are. And then the water is because summer solstice marks the transition, the astrological transition from Gemini, the twins, and the element of air into the season of Cancer, which is a water element. So what we do during this time is Cancer is very nourishing and very emotional, very sensitive and perceptive, and have a lot of qualities of the moon, very feminine. So we take time to connect to that element, the element of water, and to allow it to what we call baptize ourselves. Okay, hello. We'll put you on this. So yeah, talking about the water. empower yourself to cleanse yourself with water in the most profound way. And that doesn't just include the physical cleansing, but also emotional, mental, spiritual, so that you can reconnect to yourself, to your spirit, to your soul every time you use the element of water in a conscious way. So practice that every day, and we will send you the follow-up email with a ritual bath practice, which we do usually about 5 times a month. And it's a very powerful way to connect with both elements, the fire, which is the heat, and the water, which is water, and use them not just for mundane activity, not as a mundane activity, but also as a
To
spiritual
consciously, deliberately,
ritual, yeah.
intentionally relax much deeper than just, I'm going to relax instead of veg out relaxing, to really focus that energy deeply and go beyond just the more regular type of bathing.
So to summarize, all we spoke about up to this point is on this season in the summer, and specifically summer solstice, we're focusing particularly but not exclusively on the fire and the water elements, because there is that alchemy happening between the two. And all we do with all the practices that we do, including meditation, our personal altar, making the space in our lives through eating whole, raw, fresh foods, avoiding processed foods and ingredients, and
Too much fat,
modern
too much
day
oil,
foods.
too much nuts even.
Yeah. All we do is we bringing ourselves, creating a bit more space in our lives, in our bodies, in our cells, for that elemental alchemy to take place and for us to actually feel what's happening. Because when we feel what's happening, then we become aware of the process, become aware, and our intuition awakens, so that we know what our body wants, how does it want to behave, what our whole being wants. And part of this process is also to discovering our unique medicine during this time, things that make us happy. For this time of the year, like, what is your creative medicine? Do you like dancing? Do you like playing music? Do you like drawing? Do you like sewing, knitting? Anything that makes you creatively express yourself and connects you to your deeper essence. It's good to bring that out and nourish yourself with it, because this is part of the essential nourishment for the whole holistic being. So from this point now, we're gonna move to Q&A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So if you have questions, now is the time to write them in the chat box. And we can start with the first one.
Okay. Emily Oram asks, can you share some solar affirmations for the altar, please? Maybe you could elucidate a bit more what you mean, Emily.
I know what you mean, like a solar prayer.
Okay, like we have the little things stuck on our altar that have been written down.
Like this one?
The little piece of paper we have.
Yeah.
Yes.
So solar affirmations, anything to do with the sun. The most important thing when you write your affirmations is to connect them to your heart, so it comes from your heart.
Rather than the head and the mind.
Yeah.
So we've got to remember that the water and the fire are the most dynamic, living, transformative elements. As I mentioned earlier, it's important to really feel this, bring the earth to the heavens and the heavens to the earth. So earth being the most material, solid reality, whether it's our physical bodies, and air being the closest to the mind or the mental realm, and that water and fire are the bridges between these two, and are the alchemical. Alchemy is the transmutation between all the elements. So it's about transforming, whether it's transforming sadness into happiness, sickness into well-being, lack into abundance, loneliness into community. So those are some good avenues or trajectories along those paths. And so let us feel the energy of the sun So the sun brings some of the qualities. We'll talk about the qualities of fire and then water. Fire brings vitality. It brings clarity as it transforms the air of the mind, the subtle realm, into action. So it brings initiative, movement, action, momentum. Fire brings courage. Fire is the heart. So both fire and water, we feel the most. We feel fire and heat, and we feel water. Obviously, we feel what's solid, the earth, and it's more intangible and mental, the air. So what else does fire bring? Fire brings creativity. It's another form of action, creative action. Fire is family and community. Fire is our teenage years and that kind of rebellious inspiration to change the world, to make a difference. So that's some of the energies of fire, and it's generally more masculine. Fire is the masculine form of that plasma, and water being the more feminine aspect. And some of the qualities of water to remember, that you can use these qualities to write into your affirmations. Qualities of water would be and all our emotions and our feelings that go beyond just the fire of the heart. So that includes one of the major elements is that it is the solution. It is about flow, obviously, water. It is about peace. It is about healing. It is about medicines. It is about forgiveness. It is about balance. It is about surrender and letting go, purity. So working with these two together can help you write your own affirmations once we know about them.
It starts very simply. Start by just saying hi to the sun and recognizing and remembering the sun every day, because a lot of us forget. And it's like the most obvious thing that we can do to strengthen that connection. And, we can tune in to the light of the sun, to the strength of the sun, to the permanence of the sun, to the love of the sun. Anything that you feel like you require in your day, you can connect to that energy with this, which the sun represents to us. So that's how we write our prayers and affirmations in that way.
And to feel the inner sun, and you can also speak to a fireplace or a candle. We do really encourage that. Put your insights, your prayers, your questions, your intentions, speak to the fire as an element of the one, and also speak to your water. So speaking to your water, sending your intention or your prayer into your water while you're drinking it, when you're in the shower, speaking to the spirit and the element of water to bring about those qualities that it's best at, to cleanse you of thoughts and belief patterns that you wish to let go of, cleanse your emotions, cleanse your body, cleanse any mental, physical, emotional, spiritual pain, enable you to forgive the world, forgive yourself, to let go. And I just want to check in with Evelyn here. It says this question you posted is privately. Does that mean you do not want us to discuss that? Or is that just something that's come up by mistake before maybe you just sent the question in private?
Anyway, it's a question about water, so
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Masaru Emoto, we love Masaru Emoto. I got to meet him a couple of times. He autographed some designs I've done, which I'd love to show you guys sometime. And what are your thoughts about water? Yes, so we're happy to share more details on that. We've both been working with water a long time, and I'd actually written a book on water and made a little film just before we opened the first Wild Food Cafe, and that kind of took over and took priority, but it's still a great passion of mine to share about water and the magic of water. I don't know if that's being an aquarium water bearer, but the water purification, energization systems that exist are evolving rapidly all the time, and hopefully we'll get to a point where someone comes up with a company that is as brilliant as a Virgin or an Apple at delivering people an easy to use, extraordinarily well put together product with excellent service and what's the word? Customer care, and that is reliable and simple and natural and easy to use, and they're evolving and improving all the time. Kangen water, a lot of people are very fond of it and is brilliant in lots of ways, which is the machine you mentioned. We at the restaurants have a sort of composite system, that's a great word, of about 5 different systems, including Kangen, including Schauberger technology. You can look up Victor Schauberger, and Grander technology. You can look up Johann Grander and his stuff, and then we also purify it with all different natural media, including volcanic sands and far infrared ceramics. And it's kind of a custom-made system, and we can also put you in touch with our friend who helped build that. We are going to be doing an event with him sometime soon at the restaurant, where we'll have, he's now officially a water sommelier. We know a couple of water sommeliers, believe it or not, that exist these days. And yeah, if you have a more specific question on the water, then we can share that and respond to that. Otherwise, the most important factor in our water is to appreciate it and to bless it and feel the magic and the spirit of the water. If we connect to that, then we can transform water at a greater degree than anything else, because we can have the purest water in the world. If our emotions and our thoughts are negative and heavy, then we've ruined the power of that deep connection with water.
So to wrap up this session, as we're going to have another session, and we're going to have a couple of follow-up emails to give you a bit of inspiration and guidance with the recipes and the bathing practice and other seasonal tools that we use with great success and really helpful in our lives. So to wrap up, in the meantime, if you're up for it and you want to tune into the energies of this time of the year more, kind of review your what's on your plate, review your kind of processed foods, make sure and release them for the next couple of weeks, so that you focus on amazing, fresh, raw, juicy produce and lots of hydration, lots of smoothies, lots of time in nature, and just allow yourself space to feel what it is to feel the summer solstice. Allow your body to emerge in its wisdom and take time to meditate in the morning or in the evening. It's an amazing time of the year to get up early in the morning and to experience the sunrise at like 4:35 and take the time to reconnect. So in the next week, we're gonna connect with you guys via email and via group so that we can continue this conversation and keep each other supportive.
Yeah, and remember, this is the best time of year to visit farmers markets, and even better than visiting a farmers market, visiting an excellent organic or biodynamic farm near you, or visiting, if you don't have one yourself, visiting a friend or a relative who is growing their own garden and participating in that, whether it's making a salad together, whether it's tending to the garden, knowing about the whole process, not just eating from the garden, but making the time to connect with the plants, to water the plants, to notice the connections. There's so much life going on at this time of year. It's a great time to tune into it.
Yes, and in the meantime, if you have any questions, please email to the email that you got this webinar link from, and we're gonna create a group and keep each other informed and supported throughout the next week. And then we're gonna tune in once again next Wednesday, I believe. We're gonna have our friend joining us as well. So we're gonna talk more about the practical ways we can tune in to this time of the year, including different arts and sciences and foods and stars, so that we empower ourselves in our awareness, in our understanding, in our rhythmic flow with the seasons, and in our wisdom of nature-based life forms.
Great. So please have a think about what questions you would like to ask, what you would like us to share and go through. And I look forward to joining you next week. Have we got a time limit on this now?
Yeah, it's
Last
the
chance
same.
for some questions.
We are. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Thank you everyone for joining us. Sending you big love, alohas, and so